Hi, this topic is going to show you how to rewrite an algebraic expression without negative exponents. In math, it is considered illegal to leave a negative exponent in your answer. So if you're doing a math problem and you end up with something like this, that's illegal. You're not allowed to leave that -5 as an exponent. And it's also illegal to just say, oh, that's wrong, so I'm just going to change it to that. Those are not equal to each other, so that's not valid either. So basically, negative exponents, the way that I think of them is they are always going to, whatever they're attached to, they're always going to put that into the other part of the fraction. That's the best way to say it. So whatever's attached to the negative exponent, that has to go in the other part of the fraction. So if we just look at the problem that I just put on, I'm going to just erase this part here. If I just look at 3p to the -5th, the first question you ask yourself, you say, self, what is it that has the negative exponent? Well, the only thing that has the negative exponent is the p, not the 3. The 3 actually has an exponent of 1. We just don't write it. So we're not touching the 3. And you're probably still hung up on the word fraction. Cheryl, there's no fraction here. So we can make anything we want a fraction by putting a +1 in the basement. Just put a 1 underneath it. Boom, we have a fraction. So when I say find what has the negative exponent, boom, it's p that has the negative exponent, throw that in the other part of the fraction. Well, it's in the top of the fraction, so it needs to come downstairs into the bottom part. The 3 stays upstairs. We can keep that 1 there if we want in the bottom. You don't necessarily need it. The p comes downstairs, and the whole reason why we're doing this is once the p is downstairs, the 5 becomes a positive exponent. So it's 3 over 1p to the 5th. Some textbooks would say, hey, skip the 1 on the bottom, just keep that. All right, so this is kind of really long. This was done out in quote-unquote a long way. I just kind of explained things as I went. So let's try another one. Let's say we have 1 over 2n to the -3. Again, first question, what is it that has the -3? Okay, the only thing that has the -3 is the n, so that has to come to the other part of the fraction. So n to the 3rd comes upstairs. You can keep that 1 there if you want, but you do not need it. The 2 stays downstairs. And that's it. All right, that's all you're doing. I'm trying to make this even more difficult. They're not super difficult if you follow the same questions over and over. What has a negative exponent? The only thing that has a negative exponent is the b. All right, yes, there's a negative sign here, but that's not an exponent. That's just telling you that this 3, which is technically a coefficient, this 3 here is -3. All right, but this has the negative exponent. That's the only thing that's going to move to the bottom part of the fraction. So the b to the 3 comes downstairs. That other 3, I shouldn't have used both of them as 3's, but this other 3 stays negative and it stays up on top. All right, let's just do a couple more. I mean, it's difficult to make this any harder than that, honestly. So if you kind of just keep asking yourself the same questions, you should be good. So let's say we have -4 over m to the -5. Again, same first question. What has a negative exponent? The only thing that has a negative exponent is that. It has to come upstairs and just sit next to that -4. All right. You might want to see a 1 on the bottom of that fraction. We don't even need this. We don't, like, that's not necessary. So we can just have this as our final answer. Either one of those is totally fine, actually. 3z to the -7. What is it that has a negative exponent? Just the z. So that's going to come downstairs. The 3 stays upstairs. The z to the 7 comes downstairs. End of story. I think that's it, honestly. I guess I could just show one more that's kind of similar. Like if you had, let's see, what if we had x squared y to the -3 and that we had a 10 out in front. Let's say that was your issue, your problem, and you had to rewrite it without a negative exponent. Again, what thing has a negative exponent? It's this whole chunka. All right, that is all going to go in the basement. So we keep the 10 upstairs. On the bottom, we have x squared y. Make it a +3 now. Technically, there's one more step to be done at that point, but this topic is mainly just rewriting an algebraic expression. Well, okay, in case you were curious about what that last step was, is you have to multiply these exponents X squared, you multiply the 2 with the 3, that becomes x to the 6th. The y technically has a little exponent of 1, and 1 times 3 would give it 3. So that's technically your final answer on that, but my main goal was, do you understand why that went down in the basement and became positive? So, all right, I hope this helped.